Today, I'm going to be working with something that I've never worked with before, which are some boneless beef plate ribs. And I'm going to be taking those and adding a Mediterranean flavor to them out on the Weber Kettle. So what I have here is a boneless piece of beef plate ribs. This is basically what you would see with the large beef plate ribs with the bone removed. Now this is a Wagyu cut of beef, and it was sent to me by Wagyu. Wagyu is a family-run ranch out in Texas. All their beef is pasture-raised, hormone-free. It is 21-day dry-aged. They've sent me beef before. It's always been terrific. If you want to check out their beef, I will put a link in the description below. And I've mentioned before, if you do end up ordering anything, use the coupon code CWR because you'll get 20% off your order. So let's get this seasoned up so we can get it out on the Weber Kettle for a great smoke today. So the rub I'm going to be using today to bring out that Mediterranean flavor with these beef ribs is a fennel pepper rub from Stephen Raichlen's Project Smoke. I've tried several of these rubs, they're fantastic, and I think this is gonna go great with this, really bring out, like I said, that Mediterranean flavor. So we're just gonna start hitting this. We're gonna give it a really good coating. All right, let's turn this over. Now I'm going to be doing these today with the fat side down. This is the fat side. I may be turning them later. We may be wrapping them later. It's just going to depend upon how they're doing. Get some more good coating on this meaty side. All right, this is looking good. I think this is ready to get out to the Weber Kettle. The ThermoWorks smoke is showing a kettle temp right in the low 250s. I'm shooting for a kettle temperature today between 250 and 275. 25 degrees either way from that range will be fine with me. So I have the Weber Kettle set up with the slow and sear. I have the Mallory cast iron grate with one of the wings removed just so I have access to the slow and sear. We don't need that wing there. I also have my ambient temperature probe in here and a little bit of foil under the Mallory grate to catch any drippings. Actually, I want it this way. The thicker part next to the already ignited side of the slow and sear. I'm going to add a piece of hickory to slow and sear now so we can get some great smoke on this piece of Wagyu beef plate ribs. I should also mention that the water reservoir for the slow and sear is full. All right, let's get our lid on and get smoking. My bottom vent is in the 2/3 open position. And my top vent is in the fully open position, but this will likely get adjusted down a little bit after we get the beef plate ribs on here. Now, I'm not running an internal temperature probe on these beef plate ribs today. I could, but I'm actually just going to completely focus on the tenderness of them. When they're done, they are going to be somewhere in that 200-degree range, but I'm just going to be checking them. I'm going to let these go for the first 2 hours. I'm not going to do anything. I may adjust that top vent just to dial in the temperature. After 2 hours, we'll see how they're doing, if they need to be spritzed. We'll also start to get a gauge on how done they are getting. I'd suspect that these are going to take somewhere in the range of 4, 5, 6 hours. Not 100% sure. Without the bone attached to these, it is going to affect the cooking time, I imagine. But we're just going to keep an eye on it, check it for tenderness, and when it's done, we're going to be turning this into something beyond just that big slab of beef it is. So I'll see you back here in a couple hours when it's time to check this. So while our Wagyu plate ribs are smoking out there on the Weber Kettle, we're going to get something ready for them later. I mentioned that I'm going to be presenting these or eating them not just in big hunks of beef, with nothing wrong with that, but I want to do something a little different. So we're actually going to be taking that Mediterranean flavor from those beef plate ribs, and we're going to be putting it in some pita bread, and we're going to be making some homemade tzatziki to go on top of that. So what we're starting with here is a cup of plain Greek yogurt. What I'm going to add to this is 1/2 of an English cucumber. Now this has been salted, and that helps bring out the moisture. You cut it into 1/4-inch pieces first, and after you salt it, you squeeze it in a paper towel just to get out some of that excess moisture. We're just going to add this into our yogurt here. We're also going to add 1 garlic clove that's been minced. You can also crush it if you want. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh mint. Next comes 1 tablespoon of lemon zest, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, finally 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Now we mix it together. Greek yogurt is very thick, this plain yogurt, and so it accepts all this extra liquid and everything perfectly to thin it out. And this is a very chunky tzatziki. If you want it more fine, you can chop the cucumbers more fine. I like it chunky. All right, I'm gonna get a little taste here. That has a nice little hit from that lemon zest. I love that. All right, this is gonna go in the refrigerator covered until our Wagyu beef plate ribs are ready. You could make this a day, 2, 3 days ahead. The longer it sits, it sort of absorbs all those flavors, everything melds. It's just a really great topping for things like the pita that we're gonna make today. All right, we've been going 2 hours. The kettle temp is holding 266. It's been really in that, 260 to 275-ish range, which is perfect. Slow and sear, doing what it's supposed to do. But let's go ahead and have a look at these Wagyu beef plate ribs. That is looking mighty beautiful. Just want to do some quick probe testing here. Yeah, there's still resistance. Temperature is showing 147 and a good amount of resistance. That's 153. This side's showing 159. So we're gonna have at least 2 more hours to go here, but one of the things I wanna do is I wanna turn this around. I'm gonna rotate it 180 degrees. I'm just gonna get the lid back on, and we're gonna let this keep cooking. We're gonna check this again in about an hour. All right, we're 3 hours in. The kettle is still holding really steady in that 260, 275-ish range. And it's time to check these Wagyu beef plate ribs and kind of start deciding if we're gonna wrap them. The color on this is just amazing. Getting some bark formation, still a little soft there. Just wanna do a quick check again for tenderness. Still resistance. Temperature there's 166. Yeah, 167 at this end. Now, I could wrap this right now, but I think I want to let it go for about another hour. I want that bark to set a little bit more because I want to try and maintain that. It's just so beautiful. So we're going to let this go for another hour and then we'll check it. But no need to spritz or anything. There's still plenty of moisture. I'm going to put 1 more piece of hickory on here though. Just give it that little extra smoke time. So we'll check this again in about an hour. All right, it's been another hour now, a total of 4 hours. Let's check our Wagyu beef plate ribs. Oh, looking beautiful. Just want to give it another check for tenderness here. It's getting more tender, but still some resistance. Internal temperature at this end is 174, this end 175. So it is time to wrap this. All right, we're gonna get this back on the kettle. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get the lid on, let this keep cooking. In about an hour, we'll check it again. All right, we've been going another hour, a total of 5 hours now. Let's just see how tender the meat is probing through the foil. Now that's pretty tender, and that's showing 204. That's showing 211. I'm just gonna go once more in the center here. That's 207, and it is totally sliding through like butter. I don't need to probe that anymore. These Wagyu beef plate ribs are ready. Let's get them inside and let them rest for about 20 minutes before we cut into them and start building our Mediterranean pitas. So here are our boneless Wagyu plate ribs. The color, I hope you can see, looks amazing. Now I am going to be slicing this into some smaller pieces because this is going to be going into some pita bread with that tzatziki we made. But first, let's just cut right down the middle. Oh, it's like a brisket. Look at that. Look at that juice. Juice-a-lench. We definitely have a juice-a-lanch. Just fantastic tenderness and juice here. Yes, we are going to be putting this in some pita because it's a nice Mediterranean flavor, but I gotta say, I'm gonna take a taste right now. A pre-taste. This is not an it's time to taste yet. It's a pre-taste, and this is really hot still. It actually has been resting for about 45 minutes. I let it go longer than I said I was going to, but that's okay. Let's take a quick little taste here. Oh man. Well, it's Wagyu. It's gonna taste like that. Wow. Oh my God. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and slice some of this up so we can make our Mediterranean pitas with that tzatziki, and I'll bring you back. All right, here is our pita with pieces of our Wagyu beef plate ribs in there, some of the tzatziki, and also some slices of marinated red pepper. I gotta tell you, those few little tastes I had right at the beginning as we cut those, they're not enough because now it is time to taste. And I'm just gonna go straight in for a bite of this pita. That is really nice. Now you can absolutely just eat the beef like I showed you there, but because there are those Mediterranean flavors there, putting it in a pita, adding the tzatziki, some of those red peppers, it gives you another way to deliver this. If you want to just eat it on your own, you can do that. I've already done that with those tastes, but this is really, really good. Those little barky chunks of Wagyu beef are just unbelievable in this. I've said every time I've used a piece of Wagyu that Wagyu has sent me, this is a treat. This is not something you're gonna eat every day. It is expensive, but if you're looking for that special meal, just like if you're doing a Wagyu brisket or a Wagyu tri-tip, this cut, Wagyu beef plate ribs that are boneless is really, really something special. The flavor is off the chart, and you can use it in so many different ways, just like I'm doing here. Total cook time of 5 hours, really isn't much different than what I would have expected with bone-in beef plate ribs. And I think I got it right to the exact tenderness that I wanted to shoot for, with all that juice still there. We didn't lose anything, and letting it rest for about 40-45 minutes really did help instead of just the half hour. Honestly, I let it keep resting because it was just too hot. I would check it, and I didn't want to have to handle it when it was that hot. I could have actually let it rest for over an hour and it would have been perfectly fine. But honestly, I didn't want to wait. So if you are looking for a treat, something that is different, these boneless beef plate ribs are just amazing. I've never cooked those before, and I gotta say, if I am looking for a cut to purchase that is gonna be for a special occasion, and that would feed 4 or 6 people easily, maybe even 8, this is the cut I would go for.